Ujai. Welcome to the Tassanet and Sobek experience. Real talk, real time, where their experience is your medicine. Welcome to the experience. I am Sobek.
And I am Tassanet.
Love you, baby.
I love you too, King.
How you doing today?
You know what, I'm doing quite well.
I'm glad to hear that because the topic we're talking about today, I need all your energy.
Oh, yes, I'm going to exert all my energy too.
I like that.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Let's get to it.
All right now. Well, today we're going to talk about a very controversial topic. A lot of people go back and forth. Mostly people are uninformed. Today's topic of discussion will be polygamy. Yes. Polygamy.
That's hot.
Very hot. Very hot.
Yes, it is.
And I like to say it's not what people think. You know, when people talk about polygamy, they talk about the sex, but it's so much more.
Right.
And before we get into a little deep, I want to introduce it through political, social, and economic system. And one of my favorite books by Dr. Amos N. Wilson, Blueprint for Black Power. And I want to read something concerning the power of the black family. Give me 1 second, y'all. And I like to read verbatim so as y'all can have facts. We have indicated that the family is a power system. It is an alignment of persons usually related by blood or adoption, formal or informal, a shared history, a sense of mutuality, identity, values, and fate. The power generated by the family system can be utilized to enhance and maintain the family's own well-being and self-sufficiency, as well as the well-being and autonomy of the community and culture of which it is a member. Dominant groups, in seeking to achieve or maintain that power over subordinate groups, are for this reason compelled in some ways to constrain, restrict, reduce, and destabilize, misdirect, and destroy the family systems. With those, the communal and cultural systems of the groups they subordinate. The oppression, distortion, and destabilization of the African American family by dominant white America began with the enslavement of Africans and continue this day. I wanted to bring that out because a lot of people are very short-minded when it comes to understanding first being African. African people are communal people, a family structured people. And polygyny, what we subscribe to, adheres to that. What do you say to that, Queen?
Wow. Actually, polygamy, I totally agree with what you said, and definitely what Dr. Amos said about the destruction of
Amos Wilson.
Dr. Amos Wilson said.
Ian Wilson, yeah.
Okay, thank you. About the destruction of the dynamics of the black family.
Right.
And polygamy helps to bring that dynamic back. I feel, let me correct that, y'all. Let me just be specific. I feel, this is my opinion, that with polygamy, and polygamy, let me just break that down. Polygamy is when a man has 2 or more wives.
Now we're talking about a specific type of poly life.
Right.
Polygyny, which is the 2 queens and the king.
Exactly.
And then we have what else?
And then we also have polyandry.
Correct.
Polyandry. Now this is for the ladies because a lot of times women are always talking about, well, why does the dude always have to have 2 queens? What about if I want to have 2 kings? Well, you can, and that's called polyandry.
Okay, continue.
And another form of poly lifestyle is polyamorous. Polyamorous is when you have multiple sexual relationships going on at the same time.
Now, I want to speak on that because the aspect of polyamorous is confused with the swingers lifestyle, where, you know, couples can explore themselves for those who want to go that route. Men can be with men of another couple, the woman can be with another woman of the other couple, or, you know, all out togetherness. For all out togetherness, I would say. I don't want to say orgy. I don't want to just credit people's choices in life, because that's not for me to do. But we are explaining the different types of groups under the poly umbrella.
Right.
And what we're going to discuss today, specifically between me and the queen, is polygyny. And again, that's when a brother has two queens. Now, I'm very skeptical to say marriage because, as you know, in America, polygamy is illegal.
Right.
But polyamory, andry, and all the other lifestyles, you know, go under other names. People call it open relationships, whatever. But polygyny sets up a beautiful, beautiful example of the African lifestyle. And in polygyny, back in the ancient days, folks were only people that was privileged to it was the royalty and the elite. So polygyny was not just something everybody did because it came with responsibilities. Mm-hmm. Example, but when and Tassanet and I invite a third and create a triad, when I buy a car for Tassanet, I have to buy for my other queen as well. It's an equality. You know, you discuss the aspect of economics. You discuss the aspect of raising children, particularly if a single mom, you know, if a woman has children already. So it's a little bit more structural and deeper than that. But because we have a European mindset, a Christian mindset, dominated Christian mindset, that we are taught that, you know, you cannot have more than one wife. When you look through the Bible, particularly the Old Testament, absolutely. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob both had multiple wives.
They sure did.
Exactly.
Yep, it's in the Bible, in the Old Testament particularly.
Okay, yeah. All right.
So what I want to say is that I like the idea of polygamy because it allows for nation building. It allows for us to leave a legacy. It allows for us to engage in group economics.
Okay.
I also like the fact that with polygamy, it allows the other woman, so let's say the first wife, right?
Right.
And then you get a second wife. So when the husband is gone to the second wife's house, or, you know, they're together, it allows the first wife to have some time for herself.
Right.
And it also allows the woman to just be able to in tune with what's going on with her. Now, I have heard quite a bit of different stories about what some women go through. Mm-hmm. I am part of a group for women who celebrate polygamy. Mm-hmm. And so what I have been learning is that there is an adjustment period.
Right.
Right? Sometimes, you know, there are going to be some insecurities that may pop up.
Right.
And this is why I say, you know, when the husband has gone to the second wife's house, or however you decide to set it up, it allows you to check yourself.
Right.
You know, as for the first wife, it allows you to find out, okay, well, why am I feeling like this?
Right.
When I agreed to it. Now, that's the thing with polygamy. It has to be an agreement amongst all parties.
Now, when you say that, because that's why I've listened to you, you know, state the facts. But let's talk about how you feel.
Oh,
yeah. Let's tell. Let her tell our story. Let her tell our story.
Yes. So our story is when I presented the idea. Mm-hmm. Yes, I did, ladies. I presented the idea to my king. And the reason why I did that was because my king was part of a formation.
Yes.
And that particular formation, the the
Chief.
the chief or the president, whatever, of that formation. He is a polygamist, and he had multiple wives. And I was like, And on an honest tip, King told me that he loves women.
Yes, I do. Yes,
He
I
loves
do.
women.
Yes, I do.
And he loves feminine energy. He loves to be surrounded by feminine energy.
I relish it. Saturate myself with it.
And now, let me be honest, ladies.
Tell the truth.
Before I met Sebek, my king, honey, let me tell you, I was not sharing my man with anybody. None whatsoever. But when Sebek and I got together, and he informed me that he loved women and that he loved feminine energy, and then finding out when he was part of the formation that the president or the chief, whoever, I forgot, national chairman, he was a polygamist. So I did some research because I wanted to know, okay, well, what is this all about? Now, I came from an American standpoint, Christian standpoint, that it was all about sex. That's what I thought polygamy was. There was just a man wanted to have the opportunity to have sex with multiple women at the same time.
If I can
or not at the same time, but just having the opportunity to have sex with different women.
Well, if I can interrupt for a brief
I'm
second.
not finished with my story, though.
Oh, okay.
Let me finish. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
So I did some research, ladies and gentlemen. And what I found is that polygamy, as my king said, was part of royalty. And it was also part of when men went to war. And when the men didn't come back, there were widows and children that was left. So the women that had husbands, they said, well, because we're African and we have a communal thought process, we can't just leave the widows and the children by themselves.
Correct.
So that's how I understood polygamy to be. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And I thought about in today's time where we have 63%, maybe more, I think it's 73% the last time I researched it, King, that 73% of African American women are single parents. That's astonishing. Compared to our white female counterparts, it's like about 30%, maybe less, who are single. And so polygamy it has to be thought out, of course, and it's something that you have to be in agreement with. Polygamy is not for everybody.
Say that one more time, please.
Polygamy is not for everybody. Now, lately, actually this past week, Facebook has been hot with quite a few articles on polygamy.
Correct.
They have. And I shared an article on my page, and I received a lot of responses.
I bet you did.
And the question was, would you be open to embracing a polygamous lifestyle? Because it is a lifestyle.
Yeah, it is.
It is. Go ahead, King.
Oh, I can
Yes,
speak now?
yes, you can
I can
talk
speak
now.
now?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that a lot of Africans in America are not educated about, I wouldn't say, a lot of Africans and Americans don't understand that polygyny, particularly polygyny and polyandry, are based on the woman. Even polygyny is based on the woman. It goes way back to even in Ethiopia, before Kemet, before, there was Ethiopia, Kush, and the Twa civilizations. But they had the queen mother system, or the Kantake system, where, the mother picked the king. And the aspect of to fulfill Ma'at, equality, where women ruled. So women had a say in the family structure, unlike today, where we are dominated by a patriarchal system, which came through Christianity. Because when you even read the Bible, particularly the New Testament, the book of Acts, and even throughout the Old Testament, you always hear about widows and children. Particularly in the Old Testament, you hear about if a man lost his brother in war or lost it to death, that the brother was to, marry his sister-in-law to keep it in the family. And the story that everybody talks about where the brother, it was a parable where one of the brothers has relationships with his sister-in-law, and instead of letting it loose in her, he spewed it on the ground. So I mean, there's always been examples of polygamy, particularly polygyny, and of course in our history, I'm sure there's some African queens who have multiple husbands. That I've heard, but I have to research further. But the aspect is that if you are not ready for polygyny or any, polygyny and polyandry, then that's cool, because basically you're gonna automatically fall into the polyamorous lifestyle where it's a free fall. And a lot of people like that irresponsibility. And see, that's why I look at polygyny as an aspect of being more responsible, because it's not easy being the king. You feel me? When you have two queens, particularly the type of queens I like alpha females. My queens are alpha females. She can call shots, and I would like her sister wife to roll with that. Because another aspect that the queen is going to touch on is how polygyny develops sisterhood.
Yes, that's another idea.
Get to it. It's a fact, not an idea.
And not an idea, but it is a fact
Yes.
that it does help to bring about sisterhood amongst women.
How's that?
And how that is, it brings women together who are open and who are in agreement.
Repeat that. Because a lot of women feel, because of the fact that they deal with a lot of quote unquote conscious brothers who, have multiple women under the guise
Right.
of polygyny. I know certain brothers. I'm not going to mention certain brothers because that's not what we're here to do. We're here to
Right.
educate you on polygyny.
Right.
But the polygyny that is performed even in Islam, where, brothers can have multiple wives, they tend to overstep their boundaries and are not honest. I've heard, when I was a Muslim, I heard stories of abusiveness,
Right.
Horror stories. But let the queen continue to talk more about from her perspective.
Right. And let me continue.
Yes, queen.
So, yeah, and I love polygamy because it does emphasize the bringing together of sisterhood, which is so important because amongst black women, and just specifically about black women, I can't speak for white women, I can't speak for Latino women.
And you can't speak for all black women.
And I can't speak for all black women, but I do know in our community amongst black women, there can be a lack of sisterhood, a lack of sisterhood, that meaning that we can't depend on each other.
Right.
Whereas in polygamy, when you have two women who are open and who have accepted polygamy, and it helps us to come together as women, to help each other, to lean on each other, to support each other, to uplift each other. I love the aspect of the sisterhood piece when it comes to polygamy. Now, I have heard that some women don't even want to know about the second wife. And I'm like, wow, in my mind, I'm like, why would you not want to know about the second wife?
Right.
But, that's because in some faiths, like Muslim, it's up to the man. But based on research, I have found that the woman is the one that picks the woman, and it picks the woman, and the man, when we talk about it.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, that's in the aspect of what society people are in. Because, even though Africa back in the day and still today in some way,
Right.
has a consensus, they're unified on certain stuff. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
So, in some cases the man made the decision. In other cases, the woman made the decision.
Right.
And in other cases, the man and woman make decisions.
Right.
But in this case with you, I feel because of the aspect that you want a sisterhood, you know, and the fact that you brought it to my attention, and of course, I agreed. I'm like, who doesn't want two women?
Yeah,
you
like
know?
what brother? Honestly, brothers.
Yeah.
Y'all know y'all want two women, and that's what I want to talk about too. Is I want to talk about the unconsent polygamous that's going on in our community.
You mean the brainwashing?
Well, no.
Some of these cats be out here brainwashing the sisters. You know.
Okay, well, yes, some of the there's brainwashing, but there's also where brothers know that they love women.
Right.
There are brothers out here know that they like to date more than one woman, and the brothers are not being honest, one with themselves, and they're not being honest with the sisters that they're dating.
Teach on that. One more. Say that again. Honesty.
Honesty is so important when it comes to a relationship, particularly as polygamy and monogamous. But right now we're talking about polygamy. So brothers out here are, you know, doing their due, whatever they do, and they're not being honest. And so you have women that think that they are the only ones, right? Mm-hmm. And then come to find out, Shamika down the street, you know,
Right.
is part of his harem.
Right.
And he wasn't, you know, honest with her and say, look, I'm dating more than one woman. Matter of fact, I'm a polygamist.
Right. So would I be safe to say that polygyny, the poly lifestyle, particularly polygyny and polyandry, require a certain responsibility?
It does require a certain responsibility.
And it's not for an ordinary person.
No, it's not.
So ordinary person who don't choose to inform themselves or don't want to be bothered with don't really have shit to say, correct?
I feel that, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Especially if you haven't done any research.
Right.
I made a comment on one of my posts about polygamy, and I said that I was in agreement with it. And a sister said that I was a weak woman for wanting to even like just have the idea or even want to be in a polygamous lifestyle.
She don't know you like I know.
No, she don't know me. But you know, of course, I put her in check in a nice way, ladies.
Educated her?
And I educated her.
Did you empower her?
Well, I hope I did.
I'm sure you did.
But then you have some women that's just like just total shut down, closed-minded. Even if they do understand it, let me retract that. There are women that have done the research, but they choose not to go that lifestyle, and that's perfectly fine.
Beautiful.
And then you have some women that have never done the research. They're closed-minded, and they just don't want to have anything to do with it.
Now let's be honest. Just like in relationship, poly lifestyle can be a failure. I want to put that in. I want to put that truth out there. Not every relationship people choose to be in a polygamy relationship works.
Right.
You know, and the key to that is that usually the key to that a relationship failing, a polygamous relationship failing, is because the monogamy is failing. That's another thing. That's why I say about brainwashing. A lot of cats will tell you, women, and I'm a brother warning you. So let me get you on. Let me get you on your square. A lot of cats out there are not going to be honest. I would say 95% of the brothers.
95%, King?
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
And I'm giving that a curve.
Sisters, listen, honey.
I'm giving a curve.
He dropping the game, y'all. He dropping the game. Go ahead, baby.
A lot of cats, they want it, but they don't want to tell you because they want you, and they don't want to seem like a hoe, or as most black women call brothers, dogs. That's why, you know, there's two sides to the story. I'm not condoning lying, but, you know, for me and my queen, the aspect of being honest, I have that all the time. And to be, I don't like to say blessed, but to be gifted with the woman such as I have, you know, can be free flowing because I'm honest.
Yes.
So brothers, this is a message to you. Be honest. And if your woman says no, then you got to make a choice, because that's one thing about polygyny and monogamy, they are the same. They're just different relationships with the same dynamics:
Right.
honesty,
Exactly.
commitment, responsibility. You feel me? And that what makes a man, and that would construct a positive relationship, even if y'all have bumps in the road. But the key to any relationship, particularly polygamy, is to be honest.
Right.
Be honest. And and a lot of people can't handle that, men and women. No offense.
True. And I want to add too to the sisters that it is really important that when you are for sure that this is the lifestyle that you want to be in. Not because, oh, I want to be with dude, I don't want to lose dude. I whatever feelings that you are feeling and you know that they're not sure and you know you're not sure, sure you know that this is what you want to do, but you're doing it because you're people pleasing, because you think you're going to lose the dude, don't do it. I'm telling you right now.
It will
because
fail.
it will fail. We had that experience, didn't we, King?
Yes, we did.
We did.
When we first got into the game, I'm gonna be very honest. I was anxious when my queen said, "Yeah, I can roll with it," and I made a few mistakes, and I've learned that mistake. And one of the mistakes that I made was to be a little overbearing. You know, I let myself get too excited, and put my hands on places where I'm grateful the sister didn't call assault. I mean, I didn't force her, but hugging on her when she wanted to be hugged, and she told me no. I immediately backed off.
Right.
And then just meeting people who are not informed, because a lot of women that we have encountered say that they're conscious,
Right.
say that they're African centered. I don't say centric. I say African center, because centric, it's extreme for me. Center is like you focus and you balanced. Who say that African centered are not really African centered, or they haven't been in the life long enough to understand what it is to be African. And in some cases, Africa today, the colonized Africa that we have today, is not the Africa that we had prior to colonization. And I'm talking about way back. So the aspect of polygamy or any relationship, if a person doesn't have themselves in order, whether they choose polygamy or monogamy, it's going to fail.
Yes, it is.
And that's the biggest thing that I like to talk about to the brothers, because we are the head of the household. The black woman is God. I'm going to say that in a sense. But it takes a goddess to roll with a god.
Ashe. Definitely, you have to be assured of yourself, both male and female. But in particularly, I'm talking to the ladies.
Are you sure, though, on you? Are you sure?
Am I sure?
Yeah. How long we been together?
We have been together going on 4 years.
Exactly.
July 31st.
And how long we been polygynous?
We have been polygamous for, I think, 2 years?
2
now?
years,
2
exactly.
years.
And then when the story started, when you heard about polygamy, it took you a year to study it, didn't it?
It did. It took
Exactly.
me a year to wrap my head around it and study and really understand it and embrace it. And I'm glad that I did.
And
I really am glad that I did, because it is part of our African culture.
Yes, it
and
is.
being the fact that I am an African woman and I have embraced my African culture, that is the piece of the culture that I embrace. I embrace the entire culture, but that's just one aspect of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm excited that we were able to talk about polygamy, because it's a hot topic. We know that in our community there is multiple men having multiple women, and also women having multiple men. But we wanted to bring some education to it. We wanted to bring some enlightenment to it, some awareness, so you all know what's going on and know what you're getting into.
Right.
Yeah.
Because my thing is structure.
Absolutely.
Because like the Queen said earlier, a lot of sisters are in a polygamous relationship and don't know it,
That's true.
because the brother's not honest.
That's right.
The aspect, again, for me was to maintain my relationship with my queen,
Right.
because she's been with me through it all. She's my ride and die. So, one of the things that I heard a sister talk about was that when she did agree to the relationship, that the brother paid more attention to the other woman once she allowed them in. And so that, to me, that's a absolute disrespect to the sister who's been the ride and die for you.
Right.
The term bottom bitch, I'm not cool with that. More of a foundational.
No.
My foundation, my woman, I don't like to say primary. She's not an election and she's not a vehicle. She's a human being. So she is my foundation, because in the African way of life, the woman is the foundation. And we tend to forget that. And I'm not talking to the uneducated brothers and sisters. I'm talking to those of you who call yourself conscious. I'm talking to those of you who call yourself teachers. I'm talking to those of you who call yourself whatever you call yourself, who so-called reign authority. I'm talking to you, because you know better. Absolutely do. And that's one of my biggest peeves and hindrance to the lifestyle, is that cats out there lying. And I want to re-emphasize that cats out there lying, because
Yes.
in most terms, it's the dude that want to bring it up. You feel me? So I just want, and I say this to sisters: if you're not ready, don't force yourself.
That's right.
If the dude don't want to be with you and consider you to be an option, and I know this is going to relationships, but polygyny and monogamy are relationship aspects. And that's the one thing, the aspect of commitment. But I'm saying this because my queen and I built a foundation first.
Yep. That's the first thing you want to do.
Exactly. And second of all, we just not don't invite any type of energy in there. Be patient. That's what we learn. Interview.
That's right.
Let a sister, if a sister talks about relationships, I'm talking to the brothers and sisters, but brothers, if a sister talks about relationship, that's perfect time to tell her what type of dude you are.
That's the perfect time.
So,
That's the perfect time to lay it on the table. Perfect time for the sisters to say, yay or nay.
Exactly. Because polygyny is a choice.
It is a choice.
Polygamy is a choice. Polyandry is a choice. Polyamory is a choice. Polygyny is a choice. So you can't blame nobody but yourself if you get into something that you're not prepared for. And again, re-emphasizing on the haters, I feel for you, because it's not the fact that I'm trying to sell the poly lifestyle. Me and my queen want to educate and empower those who may be considering it. And that's the key to this show. It's not to promote you or to knock down monogamy, because there was a time when I was married, not a relationship. But in that, what made it fail was that I was a liar and I cheated. And when I came to terms with who I was and decided to be honest at the age of 44, instead of 25, 30, 39, I waited to my mid-40s to be honest with myself. So I can speak to the brothers who are out there lying to the sisters, and I can speak to the people who are out there lying to themselves.
And I'm glad you did, King.
Not a problem, Queen.
I'm really glad, because I appreciate you even more because of your honesty.
You got me blushing on TV. You got me blushing.
And as we wrap up, I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, polygamy is a lifestyle. And it is something that is a choice that you have made. And it has to be consensuous between all parties. Nothing forced upon, nothing coerced, nothing, it shouldn't be any of that. It should be something that you enter in mutually, and that you grow together, that you love together, that you are a family within a community. Your last words, King?
No, you said it perfectly, Queen. You said
Wonderful.
it perfectly. Perfectly.
And we are so excited. We thank you all for viewing us today. And we thank you for listening.
Yes.
And if you like anything that was said, hit that subscribe button on the Tassanet and Sebek Experience.
And don't forget that like, thumb up.
That's right.
We'll have more shows coming, more topics. Leave a comment. Let's talk about a topic that we might overlook. Feel free to
Absolutely.
participate. This is what this is all about. This is not for us to talk to you. This is for us to talk together.
That's right.
And again, as we say in our introduction, our story
Is
is your medicine.
your medicine.
And we also, as we say, real talk.
Real time.
Shahim,
Sham tell.
we out, y'all.
We out. Peace.
Right on.